Hello and welcome back to our 2025 European road trip. In part 1 we travelled through an horrendous thunderstorm, stayed in the wonderful V8 hotel in Cologne, visited Heidi in her hometown and spent a fantastic afternoon in the time capsule town of Rockburg. We are now spending 6 days in Garmisch-Partenkirchen. The town came into being in 1936, formed from the amalgamation of the previously independent towns of Garmisch and Partenkirchen, which have nonetheless retained their own distinctive characters to this day. The ski jump was originally built in 1923, rebuilt for the 1936 Winter Olympics and completely redesigned in 2007. Affectionately known as the Old Lady, it is world famous for hosting the annual New Year's Day ski jumping competition. The 1936 Winter Olympics, officially the 4th Olympic Winter Games, took place in February 1936. They featured 755 athletes from 28 nations, and Norway won a majority of the medals, 7 gold, 5 silver and 3 bronze. Amazingly, Great Britain won the gold medal in the ice hockey, breaking Canada's long-standing dominance in the sport. After lunch, we take the Eichbauer gondola.
Go next to your. Oh, we can swap halfway. We can move for her.
Yeah. Judy keeps her feet firmly on the ground and acts as photographer as we glide by in our gondola. The cable car runs right next to the stadium and offers a unique view of the ski jumps. It's a 15-minute ride to the top, and we step out at 1,236 metres above sea level. Di can't resist a bit of alpine dancing, and we all suppress the urge to burst into a verse from the sound of music. After the exhausting cable car ride, we're all in need of a bit of coffee and cake. On the ride back down, Steve introduces us to Judy's jiggly bits. I'm not sure he's told her about this yet.
A Judy jiggly bit.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Super jiggles.
On 3, 2, 1, go!
Apparently it's where the cable car passes over the towers and wobbles about.
Well, get your juggies out, guys.
On the way down, we get a partial view of the Zugspitze, but its peak is hidden in the clouds. Overnight and into the next day we have heavy rain. Since it's still raining, we visit the Verdensfell Museum. Apparently it presents the history and culture of the Verdensfell region, although it seems to have an armless Freddie Mercury and the chainmail skirt as well. The collection, which was founded in 1895 and is one of the most important of its kind in Bavaria, includes prehistoric and early historical finds, as well as sacred objects, rural art, living and culture. One section is dedicated to traditional costumes from the 18th to the 20th century. The rain seems to have stopped, so we catch a bus back to the ski jump stadium and take a walk to visit the Parthenach Gorge. We pay our €10 and enter the gorge through the turnstiles. The gorge was formed millions of years ago by glacial meltwater. used dangerously for 18th century timber rafting, and opened with blasted rock tunnels for tourism before becoming a protected natural monument. It is 702 metres long and 80 metres deep. Workers blasted tunnels and built secure walkways into the vertical rock walls between 1910 and 1912. The local authorities officially designated the gorge a protected natural monument in 1912. In 1991, a massive 5,000 cubic metres of rock collapsed, blocking the southern exit, prompting engineers to blast a safe 108 metre bypass gallery. The overnight rain has provided an awe-inspiring spectacle as water gushes, surges and falls from all directions, making a deafening noise in these confined spaces. Then it's back on our free, Porsche-designed bus to return to our base for the evening. Today is Levon's birthday. He has chosen to go to Innsbruck. It's a place I've always wanted to visit. So we take the hour and 20-minute train journey into Austria. Given the state of the UK rail system, Germany is a pleasant surprise. Amazingly, the ticket is only €22 return, and the train runs on time. Looks like some German cyclists are faster than a speeding train. Germany, Austria and Switzerland seem to be a paradise for watch connoisseurs. Steve can't resist. I didn't know that modern watches were so complicated. Innsbruck has a rich history shaped by its location as a key Alpine trading post. It rose to prominence under the Habsburg dynasty and is now a modern international sports hub. A market town was established here around 1180, and Innsbruck officially received city rights in 1239. Emperor Maximilian I made Innsbruck his favourite residence in the late 15th and early 16th centuries, adding the iconic golden roof. We buy a takeaway lunch and eat in the park. The chess match attracts quite a crowd. On the way back to the train, Levon stops off to buy himself a birthday treat. While the police watch on.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Levon. Happy birthday to you.
The Zugspitze is the highest mountain in Germany, standing at an elevation of 2,962 metres above sea level. It sits directly on the border between Germany and Austria. To get to the summit today, we're going to take several different types of transport. First, we catch the free bus to the train station. It's a beautiful summer's day. Sitting here drinking coffee and relaxing in this wonderful alpine scenery, little do we know what awaits us when we reach the summit. We catch the conventional train to Ebbsee. From here, we can take the cogwheel train. Plans for construction of the cogwheel train to Zugspitz Plateau emerged early on. However, due to economic crisis and the turmoil of the First World War, the realisation of the project was delayed by several decades. With the construction of the cogwheel train, the fundamental vision to make Germany's highest mountain accessible to everyone was realised. Since 1930, locals and tourists alike have been able to reach the Zugspitz Plateau and the famous Golden Summit Cross in comfort. We step outside and are met by a winter wonderland. It's the middle of July, and an hour ago we were sipping coffee on a warm summer's day. All that rain we had earlier in the week fell as snow on the summit of Zugspitz. Trainers are probably not the most appropriate footwear for these conditions. We need to tread carefully. To complete our journey, we take the cable car to the summit station. It is very surreal. We have gone from 25 degrees C to -3 degrees C in just over an hour. While we're here, we decide to take a quick trip to Austria. No passports required. The Golden Cross was first placed on the peak in 1851. At the end of World War II, it was used by US troops for target practice and suffered several lightning strikes and was later replaced. The original cross is in the museum we visited earlier. We step into the warm cafe for a hot drink. Occasionally the eerie clouds clear in small patches and give us tantalising views of the valley floor far below. Then it's time to retrace our steps and return to summer. On the way, we're treated to a breathtaking view of Lake Ebbsee and a fine example of German humour, or maybe they're being serious. The sunny meadows seem like a completely different world as we watch a paraglider pilot gracefully touch down. We decide to walk back to our apartment and meet these inquisitive characters along the way. Lavon headed back ahead of us and decided to flood the basement nearly to the point of shorting the electrics. Luckily, Judy came to the rescue, and by the time we get back, all is sorted. After nearly flooding us, we let Lavon loose with fire. What were we thinking? Great food and great company. What a wonderful end to an unforgettable day. Today we are back in the cars for the drive to one of Bavaria's most iconic landmarks. Conceived and funded by King Ludwig II of Bavaria, It was the inspiration for Walt Disney's Sleeping Beauty castle and had pride of place in the film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. King Ludwig II commissioned Neuschwanstein to be built as an ode to his favourite composer, Richard Wagner. The design of the castle was based on sketches by Christian Jank, a stage painter who worked with Wagner, and her work depicted scenes from several of Wagner's operas. It's a long climb up to the castle, so we take the bus. The Neuschwanstein viewing bridge spans the deep gorge and provides the most famous, postcard perfect panoramic view of Neuschwanstein. The bridge was first built in 1845 and has been updated and renovated over the years. It can get quite crowded. The site of the castle was selected because it was both scenic and isolated, away from the prying eyes of the public. Access roads had to be built to get construction material to the site, and extensive engineering work had to be done to guarantee a stable foundation for the castle. Ludwig II was possessed by the idea of the Holy Kingdom by the grace of God. He built a fantasy world around him in which, far removed from reality, he could feel he was a real king. From 1875 on, he lived at night and slept during the day. King Ludwig never got to see the castle completed. Construction was very expensive, and the king refused to use public funds for the building. He accumulated a massive debt that threatened not only to bankrupt him, but the state of Bavaria. The debt was so big that his ministers and relatives declared him insane and incapable of governing. He was arrested and taken to Berg Castle on Lake Starnberg, where he died under mysterious circumstances only a few days later. His castles were seized and opened to the public as museums. Neuschwanstein opened just 7 weeks after his death, with only 14 of more than 200 planned rooms complete. Our time at Garmisch has come to an end. We are moving on to a place we have stayed before, Strengen in Austria, for our last night as a group. All cars, motorbikes and campervans up to 3.5 tonnes must properly display a toll sticker or have purchased online in time a digital vignette when they drive on the motorways or expressway. We stop off to buy one before crossing the border into Austria. Passing through this town, we stare up at the massive wall of rock that is Zugspitze. It makes our cars look like tiny specks. I'm not sure if it's a public holiday in Austria, but the roads are very busy. We take a break for some lunch and relax by this beautiful lake. It gives the traffic a chance to calm down before we get back on the road. Sweeping along lovely winding valley roads, we make our way to the hotel. We're a bit early for check-in, so head to St Anton for a coffee or hot chocolate. The cafe has found a novel use for these bins. It leads to a whole host of cheesy puns like, "We have been here before." Refreshed, we arrive at the Post Hotel, Stringham. This will be our third visit. We stumbled across it on our very first road trip to the Italian lakes. Completely by accident, that first time, we arrived on the day before they were hosting a big classic vehicle event, and we had a great time. 2 years later, we returned. With the hotel owner's permission, we took part in the classic vehicle parade. This time, under new ownership, there is no vehicle parade, but still a really great place to spend a night or two. In the morning, our group will be going their separate ways. Yvonne and Helen are travelling back home via France, and I is heading to Freiburg in Germany to visit her brother-in-law. We'll be meeting up with her in a few days' time to travel back together. And Steve, Judy, Sandra and I are off to explore Switzerland. We have had a brilliant time in Germany. We've been from high summer to the depths of winter in one day, visited historic Innsbruck, celebrated Yvonne's birthday, been awed by the power of the Parthenat Gorge in full flood, amazed at the bravery needed to tackle the Olympic ski jump, enchanted by the fairy tale castle of Neuschwanstein, and been introduced to Judy's jiggly bits. Thanks, Steve.